Hi, I'm Charles Craven. I'm with Supercar driver at MZR Roadsports in Bradford because today I take delivery of my Datsun 240Z rebuilt as an MZR Evo. So let's do the big reveal. This is my first drive in my MZR. It's January 2024, -3 degrees, and we're on the moors somewhere near Hebden Bridge in Yorkshire. It's not ideal conditions for having my first drive in quite an expensive new car, a very rare car. We've got snow and ice on the roads. Well, on this road not so bad. Where I'm turning round, still covered in ice. So what do I think of the car? I've only done 30 miles in it or something. You know what, it's been so long before I've been able to take delivery that I've been excited about today for, well, 2-3 years really. I thought I'd have the car. Feels amazing to be in it at last. I've driven a lot of amazing cars over the years and I've got access to lots of supercars and hypercars. But what I've always missed is something just a little bit more about the driving. A little bit more something that you can sort of feel like you're the master of and get involved with. All these PDK gearboxes and 700 horsepower are fantastic, but you know, they've got a time and place for them, and really I don't believe it's on the road anymore. This car, you know, fraction of that horsepower, old school manual gearbox, it's the sort of thing that gives me that sense of being involved, that sense of being in control of a machine. So I love the retro looks of the interior, but we can talk more about the design later. The gear shift is really sharp, really solid. Everything about the car feels great, and I'm actually driving it. I've actually found myself double declutching quite a lot of the time, and not because I need to, but just because it feels like the right thing to do in a car like this. It's this sense of connection that I've missed for years, and that's why I got Raheel and his team at MZR to build me one of these. The mapping for the engine is still a bit of a work in progress. We're not quite there yet. But you know, the response that I've got is fantastic. It's got loads of torque, 3.2 litre engine, 280 horse in a little car. So it pulls really well. We've got a national speed limit sign coming up here. So if I put my foot down in second gear, oh, listen to that. Third gear now. Probably enough with the ice, but how good does that sound? You know, yeah, I've not smashed forward up to 140 mile an hour in half a heartbeat, but that's not what I'll be doing up here. What I want is the sensations involved with picking up speed to something that's not going to get me picking up the soap in a prison shower block. No traction control from 1971. Oh, that sounds fantastic. Doesn't it? Brakes are good, pulling us up nice and straight here. And you know, another thing that I like about this, which I knew I'd feel comfortable with, is you're not going to annoy people that you're passing by. Other road users are going to like this car. They're not going to be offended. Yeah, it's a bright colour, but they're not going to be offended by it, are they? You know, when you're in ultraviolet GT3 RS, screaming your exhaust at 110 decibels past people's houses, they can sometimes get a bit upset about it, and you can't blame them. And although you might not really be doing anything wrong, sometimes you just get the wrong attitude back from people, you get the wrong reaction. I'm not going to get this in this car, am I? Everyone's going to like this. Whether you're a car guy or not a car guy, this is a cool car. We'll give it another squirt up here now alongside this wall. Yeah, that does sound good. You know, I'm a little bit apprehensive. There's no ABS in this, there's no traction control. Got to be a little bit careful. You know, what I'm noticing whilst driving this car for the last half hour or so is how involved I am. You know, I'm proper involved in driving. I'm loving it. Using the clutch, using the gear change. Like I said before, I'm doing double declutching here. When did you last do that in a car? No false piped in sound in here. Here we go. That's second and third gear. Pulls like a train. But the car's only really light. We're only about 1,100 kilos. I'm driving a car that comes from the same year as me. It doesn't feel like I'm driving an old car. Everything's really tight. There's no slack. Drivetrain doesn't feel like it's on a bungee cord like even some new cars do. Everything about the car feels really solid and well engineered. Bit of revs, drop the clutch, whee, that's it. Find a bit of traction, first gear, second gear. Oh, third gear. Oh. Back on the brakes. Nail the downshift. Oh, I'm going to have fun with this, I can tell. This is going to be a cracking car. So as you can see by the state of the car, we've had a great day today. This has been my handover day for my MZR Evo. This is the end of a journey that started in April 2018 when I was out with SCD in North Wales on a private runway. And there was a group of us all just hooning our cars, doing VMAXs down the runway. And parked quietly in the corner was a little green one of these that I went over and had a look around, and I thought, you know what, that's probably the coolest car here today. And this was at a time when like the McLaren 720S was brand new. I remember them being one of those there. But my eyes were drawn to this little green Datsun 240, which I went and had a good look around. And there was a chap there called Royd. And Royd said, let me introduce you to a friend of mine who builds these. And he introduced me to Raheel of MZR. And anyway, I got Raheel showing me around the car and begged him to let me have a drive. And fair play to him, he gave me the keys to his car and we set off and we drove around Snowdonia and ended up at Royd's house in Barmouth, where Royd had a little orange one of these. So we had a little green one and a little orange one there that day. And my interest was piqued from then on. However, you know, I went about work, went about with everything else I was doing, and then a year later, I was with SCD at their secret meet at Donington, and in one of the garages, Raheel was there with 2 or 3 of his MZRs, and one of them was a bronzy grey coloured car with wide arches, like on a 993 GT2, sort of tacked out arches. And I remember looking around this thinking, that's a piece of me, that is. That's a gorgeous looking car. I love the look of it, I love the stance, I love the colour, I love the detail inside. So I went and found Raheel, who was in the garage that day, and I said, Raheel, you and I are going to have a talk, because I'm probably going to want to buy one of these. And that was April 2019. So we shook hands that day and decided we were going to do a build for me. And we've now got to, what are we, January 2024. So we're 5 years on, but it's not taken really that long to build. We had, soon after I ordered it, we had COVID for a couple of years, then the whole Russia-Ukraine thing. And then just as Raheel was getting well along with the build, I decided, actually, let's do the whole thing in carbon. So under here, this is a full carbon body. So that probably added another year to the build. And now here we are finally, January 2024, and I've taken delivery of my car.